Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called 10 Weird Things in Dutch Supermarkets. So yeah, on top of these 10 things, tell me in your opinion if there's anything else that's strange or unique about Dutch supermarkets. And yeah, tell me what you think about these things. Maybe being Dutch, do you think these are just normal? What do you think about them? Let's watch.
When you step foot into a grocery store in the Netherlands, it might seem normal at first with rows of colorful fruits and vegetables and neatly stacked shelves. But if you look closely, there are quite a bit of unique and unexpected things inside. So in today's video, we're going to take you on a fascinating journey through the top 10 most weird and distinctive things in a Dutch grocery store.
Goedemorgen and welcome back. Today, we're counting down the top 10 weirdest things that you might find in a Dutch grocery store. Starting with one that caused us a lot of stress when we moved here. Number 10. This one's been mentioned in our other grocery store video, but here in the Netherlands and in a lot of other countries here in Europe, you have to pass through security gates both when you go in and then when you leave the grocery store. But the catch is, to exit, you'll need to have your receipt to actually get the gates to open, so be sure to remember that when you're checking out at the grocery store. Also, you might be presented with a confusing and stressful situation if you went to the store but didn't actually end up buying anything, but fret not, there's probably an employee of the grocery store nearby. The reason for these gates is obviously to prevent theft. They don't open from the inside, which is why you need to have a receipt or you need to ask an employee when you're leaving the store if you didn't buy anything. Okay, now let's talk about why those sugary drinks might be costing you a lot more than you think.
Okay, so that one actually, I don't think I've ever experienced. I can't even remember when I went to Netherlands if that was the case or not. Maybe I only went to smaller supermarkets and that wasn't the case. But the one going into the store, I've never actually considered that. Yeah, here in Malaysia, you have to walk through an entrance and there is sometimes security gates there. But to leave the store, you actually need to show a receipt in the Netherlands. Is that the case in all supermarkets? Yeah, when you don't buy anything, is it like an anxiety-inducing experience if you have to like go and ask someone just to leave the store? Yeah, very unique. I've never actually experienced that before, to my knowledge.
Number 9. If you find yourself purchasing bottles of juice, soda, or water, you might notice that they're a little bit more expensive than you might expect. And that's because there's an additional 15-cent tax added to each item. This is called statiegeld. This is to discourage the use of plastics and also encourage recycling. But the good thing is you can keep those empty bottles and return them to the store and get your 15 cents back. And a lot of people actually do this, and when you're in the grocery store, you might notice people walking around with huge bags full of bottles, and that's probably what they're doing.
You're getting their 15 cents.
Hell yeah. If you're familiar with the cereal aisle in an American grocery store, then you can easily visualize this next one.
Yeah, so that one for me is a great idea. I know that happens in Germany as well. It's extremely common, it's everywhere, and it's very well followed by the populace as well. I'm from Scotland, and last year they were trying to implement a similar system. And surprisingly, the Scottish people were just really against it. I don't know if it's the way they were trying to execute the program or the system, but people were just like, they don't want to pay that little bit extra to recycle. They don't want to take the time to actually take their bottles back and so on. I think it's a great thing. It's good for the environment. It really kind of ties into everything else I've learned about the Netherlands when it comes to being eco-friendly and things. How long has that system been in place in the Netherlands? Do you always do that? Do you always go back and recycle? Do you think it's a good system? Could it be improved in any way?
Number 8. Aside from cheese, the Dutch are also pretty well known for their love of potatoes, whether it's in a Stamp pot or it's frites.
Ooh,
and
yeah,
you'll see that reflected in the grocery store aisles as well. You can get nearly any shape of potato pre-cut in the grocery store. And they have tons of pre-seasoned potatoes too, along with mashed and gratin.
Nice.
All fresh in the refrigerated section.
And that is what it's saying here, like €1.39. That for me is an excellent price, very cheap. The fact you get so many different types of it as well, that looks super, super tasty, man. Is this a air fryer? So I guess what do you need to buy the bag like this and then just stick them in the air fryer? Excellent. Tell me what your favourite flavour of these is. Aardappel paritjes.
And this is a stark contrast to grocery stores in the United States, where 90% of the potatoes that you're going to find are actually in the frozen section. Oh, and if you're looking for the whole kind of potato, they have those too. Now, let's talk about something you don't see much of in grocery stores here.
Yeah, I didn't really thought of potato being that important to Dutch food culture. I know obviously the fries are very popular in Amsterdam and so on. I've tasted them; they were amazing, but to see that so much choice, what I'll need to do is watch one of those videos that take you around the supermarket. I want to see it inside. One thing I always like to do when I go to a different country is go to the supermarket, see what unique products they have. That one definitely, I've not seen bags of potatoes that are like seasoned like that, and especially so cheap. Tell me how often you eat those sort of things.
Number 7. Tampons without applicators are way more popular in the Netherlands than they are in the US, and that's probably because they're less expensive and better for the environment. But if it's not something you're used to, you might walk into a grocery store looking for tampons with applicators and they're nowhere to be found. In fact, a lot of the pharmacy and self-care items can be found at the grocery store, they just have a very limited selection of them. So if you're looking for something specific like tampons with applicators, you're going to want to visit a drugstore like Atos or Kruidvat and you're going to find it there. Okay, if you've ever wanted to make fresh juice in the middle of a grocery store, you're going to love this next one.
Grocery stores in the Netherlands have an orange juice machine. Yep, you can make your own orange juice fresh and right in the middle of most grocery stores here.
Nice.
I'm actually not sure that orange juice is more popular here than anywhere else. Like when we go to Japan, everyone drinks orange juice there.
All the time.
But there's a fresh orange juice machine in most of the supermarkets that we've been to here. And besides orange juice, there's still a bunch of other fruit juices. They're either in the aisles or they're in the refrigerated section like you would expect. We've actually never used this machine, and I actually don't think I've ever seen anyone use the machine when we're at the supermarket. So if you're one of the people that use this fresh orange juice machine, let us know in the comments. And I guess also let us know, is it that much better than the orange juice that you would buy from the refrigerated section? It probably is.
Yeah,
it's fresh.
It's gotta
It's
be.
pure
There's gotta
orange.
be
Yeah, it must
orange
be
right
good.
there.
Anyway, let us know in the comments. All right, now let's talk about a Dutch delicacy for those on the go.
Number
Yeah, so that one, yeah, I don't remember again seeing that when I was in Netherlands. That's pretty interesting. I've never seen that in any other country I've been. It makes kind of sense, like if you're selling the oranges, to have that machine and get some nice freshly squeezed OJ. Have you tried that? Is it expensive actually? I would imagine maybe if you're it depends on how big it is, but it might be quite expensive. Maybe that's why people don't really use it so much. Have you bought one? Is it not commonly used?
Number 5. Another Dutch food staple is herring, a raw herring that goes through a pickling process and is typically served alongside some raw onions.
I just ate this in our GeoGuessr video.
And usually you'll find these stands outside of train stations
seen
or
them
maybe
before,
inside
actually,
of the
yeah.
weekend markets. And it's not just a tourist thing. A lot of locals really enjoy herring. Did you know that? But I was kind of shocked that you could find the herring inside of the grocery store because it's actually like in the fish section, packaged and served with the raw onions inside of it.
Yeah, so you
I
can
guess
take it
that
on the
makes
train with
sense
you.
if they sell it on the street as well.
I don't think I would ever have a hankering for herring that was strong enough where I'm like inside of Albert Heijn. I'm like, I gotta get
Wait.
this now.
But if you do, it's there for you.
Yeah, he tried it and was actually said it was okay. Right?
But if that's what
Okay,
Dutch people
if you're
like to
looking
eat, I guess
spice
it
up
makes
your
sense to
next
sell it
sandwich,
there.
This might be just the thing you're looking for.
Number 4. When we moved to the Netherlands, we were fully prepared to be introduced to a bunch of new cheese products that we weren't familiar with, like maybe some sort of cheese spread or some sort of new flavor of cream cheese. But this is one I'm still not sure I fully understand, and that's all of these flavored spreads. Upon further investigation, it seems like they're all just types of egg salads. So you can have like a farmer style egg salad or a chicken mango egg salad or even a hot wing egg salad. But this section of the grocery store is actually pretty big, and so much in fact that most of the local grocery brands here have their own house brands for this stuff. And they also make vegan versions of the most popular flavors. We are really curious about this stuff. It seems like it's really popular here, so we are going to try it in our next video. Pray for us. Everyone here is going to be like, what are they talking about? We eat this stuff all the time. It's not weird, but
Have you ever had egg salad before?
yes, in Japan,
Oh, right.
in our 7-Eleven video
Yep.
that no one watched. And next, here's a good tip for you if you're looking for not fresh vegetables in the grocery store.
Yeah, those things I think also are good. It makes sense. I think those are for going on sandwiches, if that's right. It's like the sandwich spread. Those things we get in the UK as well. In Malaysia, where I live now, I've not really seen them. We don't really get that much fresh, good produce. Definitely nowhere near as much as a Dutch supermarket. But I know, like in Netherlands, a sandwich is just a very common snack to have. I recently just flew with KLM to go back to Scotland, and we got to get the sandwich on there on the short haul one from Amsterdam to Glasgow, and it was beautiful sandwich. It had some like spice. One of the flights had actually had an egg. I think it had that egg spread. It was very nice. On the other one, it was just some cheese slices and a spicy sauce. That one was super good. Both great, but the fact that it's such a common snack and food in Netherlands, it just makes sense to have a lot of different flavours for that. I would definitely eat a lot of it.
Number 3. In the US, when we weren't buying fresh vegetables, we would usually buy frozen or canned vegetables. And coming to the Netherlands, we quickly realized that there are very few canned vegetables here,
vegetables?
and most of them actually come in jars. After a few quick Google searches, I really couldn't find a reason for this. I mean, they look quite nice because you can see what's inside the jar. And another thing that I really love about this is you can actually just use the jar afterwards for things like salad dressing or pasta sauces at home. And we have a ton of these inside of our cabinet right now.
People are going to watch this one and be like, yeah, okay, so canned vegetables are just in jars. That's really number 3 on their list.
Yeah, I mean, it is because like also there's a, hang on. I will say though,
Cut us some slack,
the
okay?
jar things, like it kind of makes it seem like fancy. Don't you think?
It is
Like,
fancy.
it looks really nice and it's glass. And like, honestly, in the US, they phased out a ton of glass stuff in the grocery store and it's all shoved into plastic. So I don't know. It seems fancy. This next one might be why your grocery bill is so high.
Yeah, canned vegetables. I don't really know if I've eaten much. I know that sweet corn sometimes comes in a can, but apart from that, I don't think I've ever bought any canned vegetables. I don't think I've even bought much jarred vegetables either. I think I just always buy fresh. I've never seen these available. But yeah, why is it that most of these things come in a jar? Is it just the reuse factor for the packaging that you can use that again, trying to cut down on wastage? As she said, for me, they definitely look fancy as well, but maybe in Netherlands it's just very normal.
Number 2. In the Netherlands, organic and non-organic produce are found in the same section. So this means when you're in the vegetable section, you're going to see 2 cucumbers, 2 celeries, and so on. Now, if you're in a rush, this might be a little confusing because you just run in, you just grab a vegetable, and it might end up being the organic one, which you'd have to pay more for.
Yeah, I definitely have purchased like a €3 cucumber before by accident.
Was it good?
It tasted the same.
The reason for this is probably just to better use the space in a grocery store, since the grocery stores here tend to be on the smaller side. All that said, be sure to just make sure when you're buying fruits and vegetables at the grocery store that you're buying the one that you came in to buy and not either one that isn't organic or one that is more expensive than what you're expecting. This is number 2.
Yeah, but I think that actually kind of makes sense. Like here in Malaysia, when you go to the supermarket, they actually have a separate section for all the organic vegetables. But sometimes you might want to buy like the organic vegetable of one type of vegetable, the normal one of another. So like if you're just going in specifically for certain vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers, you can just go to each one rather than having to go to one, then like go away to another section or something like that. So kind of makes sense to me. Is there like a specific reason they do that in Netherlands compared to other places?
Michelle wrote this.
Do you want to write the list?
And
next time?
finally, the weirdest thing about a Dutch grocery store. Number 1.
You have to pay in euros. It's so weird.
You have to pay in euros.
They won't take my US dollars.
They won't take our US dollars. It's so weird.
Number 1. Now, imagine this. You're on your way home from work and you need to stop by the grocery store. And it's about 6 o'clock in the evening. And you walk in, you walk up to the bakery section, and it looks like this. This is actually quite common because grocery stores in the Netherlands have their bread either baked in store or sent from a factory that same day. And due to the lack of preservatives, they don't really just like sit in the back of the grocery store, so there's not a surplus stock. So many times in the evening, you'll be left with next to nothing or just the really unpopular bread types.
Yeah, but look at the bright side. You get to figure out what the unpopular bread types are here in the Netherlands.
This is actually how I found all of the breads that are my least favorite.
Yeah, and our favorites.
It's true.
We're like, oh, well, I mean, if everyone's eating this first, then I guess we should be too.
So to avoid this, many people grocery shop in the mornings or the afternoons, or if they see their favorite kind of bread, they'll actually just buy a bunch of it and then they'll throw it in the freezer and thaw it out as needed.
And that's it.
Do you
That's
do
the
that?
official Buncharted list of the weird or quirky things that we've run into here at the grocery stores in the Netherlands.
Yeah, so tell me if you do that. Do you bulk buy your favourite bread and freeze it? Is it still good quality when you defrost it? The one thing I was going to say, that happens in the UK, when it gets to night time in the bakery section, usually all the products that have not been sold, they get reduced by 50%, 70% as the night goes on, because again, it's similar where they're all fresh. I think that's the best time to shop because I like to just save money. So I get in there, get all the cheap bread, get the cheap cakes and that sort of thing as well. Very good time to shop in my opinion. Does that happen in the Netherlands as well? But tell me what you think about these. I feel like they seem quite sensible, all of these things, quite good ideas and so on. Is there any other things that you think are quite unique about Dutch supermarkets? Thanks.